Hi. I am Ugo Brusigan, and together with Michela Benevento, we have created the musical project Anima 432. I was born into a family completely dedicated to music and musical instruments, and I have been working with frequencies at 432 Hz for at least 15 years. I am also a certified tuner of pianos and other musical instruments, so I am very aware of the importance of tuning musical instruments. But I will tell you more about my musical background and that of Michelle Benevento later. For now, I would like to talk to you about the music at 432 Hz and its benefits. Why follow this short 3-lesson video course? You can discover what, how, and why the frequency at 432 Hz is important when listening to a piece of music. You can shed light on the various topics that you find on YouTube and the web, such as the most disparate frequencies in Hz, 528, 396, 741 Hz. To understand what is useful and which instead are not easily demonstrable topics, I will let you listen to some passages of music from Anima 432 and other musicians. Why we compose in this way and, above all, what benefits listening to certain types of music and frequencies brings. So, what is the frequency at 432 Hz? By music at 432 Hz, we mean the frequency of the tuning fork that tunes musical instruments. As I mentioned earlier, I am a piano tuner and I know all too well the importance of tuning a musical instrument. The tuning fork is the little fork-shaped tool that is struck to produce the sound of A. Here it is. The note A is usually the one that determines the tuning of all the other notes. When, for example, tuning a guitar, we start with the A, then move on to the other strings, E, B, G, D, which are tuned in relation to the bass note, A. To someone without knowledge in this field, it may seem complicated, but in reality, it is simpler than one might think. Let's think about an orchestra. Do you know the beginning of a symphonic opera at the theater? Usually, the oboe plays the first note, the A, which is then taken up by all the other musicians to tune their instruments. But what are hertz? They are vibrations in 1 second. If I take an elastic band and stretch it, making it go up and down, one oscillation in 1 second means 1 hertz. If I make it go very fast, 440 times in 1 second, we will hear the sound of the note A. For example, the string with the note A on the guitar vibrates 440 times in 1 second. The fundamental note for tuning almost all musical instruments is A at 440 Hz, and it is adopted by all musicians and orchestras in the world. This means that all the music we listen to, of any genre, whether it is live or from music albums and MP3 files, is tuned to 440 Hz. But it wasn't always like this. Just knowing that ancient string and keyboard instruments, such as viols, violins, harpsichords, etc., were built for a tuning no higher than an A between 427 and 435 cycles per second. The race to the high began recently. In 1884, the Italian government issued a decree to standardize the tuning fork to an A of 432 vibrations, which had been requested by Giuseppe Verdi and the Italian musicians who met at a congress in Milan in 1881. The decree is kept at the G. Verdi Conservatory in Milan. I am also of the opinion with you that the lowering of the pitch, A, does not take anything away from the sonority and vivacity of the execution, but, on the contrary, it gives something more noble, fuller, and more majestic than the shrieks of an overly high pitch, wrote Verdi in a letter to the Music Commission of the government. It should be emphasized that the race to the high, however, began with the unilateral adoption of a higher A, 440 cycles, by the Russian and Austrian military bands in the 1800s, and that such a tuning fork, despite having no scientific justification or basis on the laws of the human voice, was subsequently accepted by convention in London in 1939, the year, as we know, in which the events leading up to the Nazi era and the outbreak of World War II culminated. And so, since then, the tuning has remained, officially and definitively ratified in 1953. Well, in recent years, a musical movement has grown, citing Peter Gabriel among many others, which advocates for the need to return the tuning fork from the current 440 Hz to 432 based on historical, harmonic, and physical reasons, finding that this tuning expresses a greater degree of harmony with the processes of nature and life and produces beneficial effects on the physiology of listeners, including emotional and mental aspects. If you have heard that Pink Floyd played their records at 432 Hz, well, let's say I have several doubts. Firstly, I have measured them and it doesn't seem to be the case, but also because I think Pink Floyd played in whatever frequency they felt like on the day of the recording studio session, depending on the substances they had ingested during those legendary and crazy 60s and 70s. I have not found any official statement in Pink Floyd's biographies regarding their tuning system, so I am inclined to think it is simply an urban legend. If anyone watching this video has official data on Pink Floyd to share with me on this matter, I will be happy to hear it. But what is the real difference between 440 Hz and 432 Hz? The scientifically observed difference lies in the geometric shapes that the two frequencies create. And this is not an urban legend, this is science. Let's get into the details. Sound creates shapes. The science of cymatics studies this phenomenon. In summary, if I emit a sound at 432 Hz, the geometric shape that is created is perfectly drawn. If I emit the same note but with a tuning of 440 Hz, the shape that is created is distorted. Now, nothing in nature happens by chance, so even though I am not clear on the natural function of listening to sounds that produce perfect shapes, I personally prefer to immerse myself in music conceived at 432 Hz because I believe that its vibrations, even if science still does not offer me explanations on this matter, can produce resonances of perfection in me. Does music have an effect on our cells? Yes, and this is not an opinion. I recommend that you go to Google and check the studies of Professor Carlo Ventura, and you will see for yourself that taking a bath in harmonic and relaxing frequencies can be very useful for our mental, emotional, and physical well-being, even down to the well-being of our cells. So is all music at 432 Hz good and all music at 440 Hz bad? No, for both statements. Now let me explain this with a metaphor. Imagine the great genius Leonardo da Vinci who has two types of colors and pencils at his disposal. Exceptional, brilliant, and precious colors and perfect pencils, and on the other hand, he has more dull colors and poor quality pencils. Do you think Leonardo wouldn't still create an incredible painting even if he used the most inferior colors and pencils? Leonardo is still Leonardo. Now imagine me, who is comfortable with music but really bad at drawing. Imagine that I use the most precious and flashy colors and the most precise pencils. Would you mistake my brightly colored picture for one of Leonardo's even if he used less precious colors? No, right? Leonardo would still be Leonardo and my painting would end up in the trash. It's the same with music. Music at 432 Hz is neither good nor bad. It depends on the composer who created it, the intention behind it, and the emotions and feelings it conveys. If you listen to music that disgusts you, it doesn't matter if it's played with musical instruments tuned to 432 Hz or 440 Hz, it would still disgust you. Of course, the opposite is also true. If the music you hear is good and you like it, it's good whether it's at 440 Hz or 432 Hz. Certainly, if you listen to music that has the intention of opening your heart and inspiring positive feelings, we can be sure that it can be greatly enhanced by a greater warmth and resonance in its harmonics thanks to the 432 Hz frequency. That's why this frequency is increasingly being used in the world of meditation or psychophysical relaxation. As I mentioned earlier, music is the element in which I was literally born. When I was a child, I played under the grand pianos at my father and grandfather's piano factory. Listening to music at 432 Hz and immersing yourself in the composer's intention can open up worlds of inner energy that can really make a difference in your daily life. The great composers of history knew very well how to take you into enchanted worlds through music. Some examples? Spring with nature coming back to life after a cold winter.
Vivaldi.
Destiny knocking on the doors of human beings.
Beethoven.
And entering the realm of mathematics and the cosmos.
Bach.
Now let's fly like a bumblebee.
Rimsky-Korsakov.
Rising up after an inner fall. This was my peace triumph. As you may have understood, there are many different intentions that can be put into music. In Anima 432, we wanted to put the intention of opening doors that are within us, doors that open up to worlds of light and beauty, positive feelings, and vitalizing energies. How? We'll see in the next episode. Please, remember to subscribe to our channel to support us and also to receive the future lessons about the benefits of 432 Hz music.